All right, thank you guys. And following Sunday's sports wagering action, we're 5-0 in our last 5 premium sports picks on BrockPage.com. $1,000 bettors made over $4,500 just on Sunday alone with my premium sports picks. We also improved to 5-0 with a push in our last 6 college basketball tier package picks on that very same webpage following Sunday as well. And the link for that package is in the description section below. And as always, guys, all the plays that I give out on BrockPage.com, they're my personal bets, games that I personally have action on. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. The Columbus Blue Jackets take on the Washington Capitals. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop on Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. Washington is minus 275, total 6 goals. Ilya Samsonov expected in net for the Caps. Joonas Korpisalo for Columbus. And although Korpisalo hasn't really been all that great this year, the Blue Jackets did get the W in 2 out of their last 3 contests. And they scored 15 total goals during that stretch. Really good offensively going into the All-Star break. Now, Boone Jenner, he scored 18 times this year for Columbus and also has 30 total points. Meanwhile, Jake Voracek has 27 total assists on the season himself. He's actually leading the club in that category. When it comes to cashing in on the puck line, the Blue Jackets, they do have a winning record against the number on the road this year. They're taking on a Washington team who can't say the same with regard to the puck line. They're just 9-16 against the number at home this season, and that's good for only 36% in that category. A lot of times these guys are favored at home. They're laying a big number, so you got to lay that goal and a half to improve your price point, and these guys simply haven't been cashing in for you. Now, the Caps have also lost more games than they've won at home this year, believe it or not, and they're giving up a lot of goals in the Capital One Arena. Now, injury-wise, TJ Oshie's still on the IR. Alex Ovechkin, he's also questionable. Meanwhile, for Columbus, Gerby, Robinson, and Texier, they are still out indefinitely for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Washington is 16-9 to the over on their home ice this year. Meanwhile, Columbus went 13-7 to the over in their travels. I'm going to lean toward Columbus plus 1.5 in the over 6 goals. Next game, Penguins, Bruins, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. Boston is minus 130, total 6 goals. Jeremy Swayman expected for the Bruins. Tristan Jarry for Pittsburgh. Now, Jarry's having a real good season thus far for the Pens. He's 23-8 thus far in the year with a .221 goals against average, .923 save percentage. Now, the Pens allow just 2.6 goals per contest, and they're limiting their opponents to just 28 shots on goal a game when they travel. Meanwhile, offensively, Jake Gensel, he leads the club in goals with 23 of them, as well as 46 total points. Meanwhile, Sidney Crosby, he's second in points with 40 of them. The Pens currently find themselves in the top 10 in scoring on average per game. This is a team who has little problems putting the puck in the net. Now, they're taking on a Boston team who kind of has problems keeping it out of the net, at least, in a handful of games here this year. As a matter of fact, we're looking at a Boston team who allowed 4 goals or more in 3 out of their last 5 contests. As a matter of fact, the Bruins currently find themselves in the bottom 10 in first period goals allowed at home. Now, injury-wise, Vakinen is questionable. Foligno's still out. Meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, on the other side of things, Heinen is still questionable for them. When it comes to the number, Pittsburgh saw unders recently with Detroit, Seattle, and Winnipeg. They were also 80% to the under in their last 10 meetings with Boston. If you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Meanwhile, the Bruins on the other side of things, they saw unders recently against Seattle, Arizona, and Winnipeg themselves. I'm going to lean toward Pittsburgh plus $1.10 and the under 6 goals. Next contest, Devils, Canadiens, 7 o'clock East. Montreal is minus 130 with the total at 6 goals. Samuel Montembeault expected for the Canadiens. Nico Daws for New Jersey. Now, I'm just going to throw it out there. Both of these teams have been really bad over the past month or so. I think it's only I think both teams are just 1-10 in their 1-9 in their last 10, respectively. So out of 20 combined games, These teams have 2 wins between the two of them. But having said that, the Devils have had the Canadiens' number in recent meetings. They're 7-0 with 3 overtime losses in their last 10 meetings with each other. Yeah, so just think about that. I'm drawing a blank here. I forget what I'm talking about. But anyway, they're taking on a Montreal team who lost their last 6 themselves, and they're winning only 26% of their home games. Now, the Canadiens are scoring only 2.2 goals per contest offensively. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the ice, they're currently allowing more goals per contest on average than any other team in the NHL. Samuel Montembeault, he's gotten the W in just 2 out of 10 starts this season. That's a .410 goals against average, .891 save percentage. When it comes to the injury report, Drouin, Edmonton, and Dvorak, they are all still out indefinitely. Meanwhile, for the Devils, McLeod is questionable for them. And when it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Jersey's last 7 got over the line. They're also 14-7 to the over on the road. Meanwhile, Montreal, they went 7-1 to the over in their last 8 themselves. I'm going to lean toward New Jersey, plus $1.10 in the over 6 goals. Next contest, it is going to be Hurricanes versus the Senators, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Carolina's minus 290 with the total at 6 goals. Antti Ranta for the Canes, Anton Forsberg possible for Ottawa. Now, Anton's just 7-8 through 15 starts, and he has a .302 goals against average. Now, the Senators allow over 33 shots on goal a game, and they're currently in the bottom 10 in goals allowed per contest. Ottawa's also gotten the W in just 7 out of 19 home games, and they're averaging only 2.7 goals a game. They're taking on a very good Carolina team who won their last 4 straight. They're also allowing only 2.3 goals per contest. Antti Ranta, 6-2 in his last 8 starts, .221 goals against average, .914 save percentage during that span. Now, Carolina leads the NHL in defensive shots on goal a game. Meanwhile, offensively on the other end of the ice, Sebastian Aho scored 19 times and has 45 total points. Aho's also a plus 15 when he's on the ice. Meanwhile, Andrei Svechnikov, he scored 16 times along with 22 assists. The Canes are currently in the top 5 in scoring on average per game. Little problems getting on the scoreboard here for Carolina. Now, injury-wise, Gardner's still out. Teravainen is questionable. Meanwhile, for Ottawa, Brown and Zaitsev are questionable for them. Batherson, Gambrell, and Norris, they are still out as well. Now, total-wise, Ottawa's 12-7 to the under on their home ice. They also went 70% to the under in their last 10 meetings with Carolina. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes are 12-9 to the under this year when they travel. I'm going to lean toward Carolina minus 1.5 and the under 6 goals. Next contest, it is going to be Wild versus the Jets, 8 o'clock East. Minnesota's the $1.35 favorite, total 6 goals. Cam Talbot expected for the Wild. Connor Hellebuyck for Winnipeg. And although Hellebuyck has had some struggles this year, he still comes into today's contest with a .290 goals against average and a .910 save percentage. Now, Winnipeg does have a winning record at home this year, and they actually do a pretty nice job getting the puck on the net offensively. The Jets are averaging nearly 34 shots on goal a game, and that actually puts them in the top 10 in the NHL in that category. Kyle Connor has scored 25 goals this year, along with 45 total points. Meanwhile, Pierre-Luc Dubois, he scored 18 times himself, along with 15 total assists. Now, they're taking on a Minnesota team who does rank in the bottom 10 in the league in defensive shots on goal. It probably is surprising to a lot of you out there. It's a very good Minnesota team. It's a Minnesota team that can beat anyone in the league on any given day. But there are some problem areas. Like I said, they're in the bottom 10 in defensive shots on goal. They're allowing 33 shots on goal a game, more specifically. Now, when it comes to the injury report, Foligno and Dumba are questionable. Bugstad is still out. Meanwhile, for Winnipeg, Stanley and Sandberg are still out indefinitely. Beaulieu is questionable. When it comes to the total, 4 out of Winnipeg's last 6 fell under the posted number. Meanwhile, Minnesota saw unders recently with Chicago, the Rangers, and Washington. I'm going to lean toward the Winnipeg Jets plus $1.15 and the under 6 goals. Next contest, it is going to be Golden Knights versus the Oilers, 9 p.m. Eastern puck drop. Edmonton's minus 120 with the total at 6. Mike Smith for the Oilers, Robin Lehner for Vegas. Now, Lehner's got 19 wins under his belt already this year, 276 goals against average, 910 save percentage, and the Knights have done a really good job keeping the puck out of the net on the road. And of course, speaking of road games, Vegas is 13-6 with an overtime loss when they travel. When it comes to offensive production in this one, the Knights are in the top 10 in scoring on average per game. And they're led by Jonathan Marchessault, who scored 20 times in the first half of the season. And he has 32 total points. Meanwhile, Chandler Stevenson, he's leading the club in assists and total points himself. They're taking on an Edmonton team who actually allows 34 shots on goal a game at home. And they've had a real tough time slowing down the Knights in recent meetings. Now, injury-wise, Mike Smith is still questionable with that thumb injury. Meanwhile, for Vegas on the other side, Martinez, Coughlin, and Haig, they are questionable for them. When it comes to the scoring in this one, Vegas saw unders recently with Tampa Bay, Florida, and Washington. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 meetings with Edmonton. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Meanwhile, 3 out of the Oilers' last 5 fell under the posted total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Vegas plus $1 and the under 6 goals. With that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup of the show. It is going to be Coyotes versus the Canucks. That's going to be at 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Vancouver's minus 260, totals 5.5. Thatcher Demko for Vancouver. Karel Vemoka for Arizona. Now, this has been a pretty rough year for Karel. He's gotten the W in just 6 out of 24 starts this season. And he also has a .342 goals against average. The Coyotes currently find themselves in the bottom 3 in the league in goals allowed per contest. Meanwhile, offensively on the other end of the ice, Arizona's averaging only 25 shots on goal a night, and they score fewer goals per contest than any other team in the NHL. These guys simply cannot get on the board. They're taking on a Vancouver team who's in the top 10 in fewest goals allowed per contest themselves. The Canucks are actually allowing only 2.7 goals a game. And goaltender Thatcher Demko, he has 17 wins thus far in the season. That is not a good formula for Arizona backers. Now, Demko's also got himself a save percentage of .917, along with a .262 goals against average. And of course, scoring-wise, JT Miller, he scored 15 times this year and has 44 total points. Now, injury-wise, Pullman is questionable. Suter and Pearson are still out indefinitely. Meanwhile, for Arizona, Larson is still out indefinitely for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Vancouver's 16-3 to the under this year at Rogers Arena. Meanwhile, Arizona's 14-9 to the under away from their home ice. I'm going to lean toward Vancouver minus 1.5 and the under 5.5 in the very tight window. All right, guys, and with that, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are currently 5-0 with a push in our last 6 college basketball tier package picks. I like Columbus plus 1.5 over 6 goals. Pittsburgh plus $1.10 under 6. New Jersey plus $1.10 over 6 goals. Carolina minus 1.5 under 6. Winnipeg plus $1.15 under 6 goals. Vegas Golden Knights plus $1 under 6. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Vancouver minus 1.5 and the under 5.5 goals. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single pick that I give out on that website, you may want to think about signing up for my board member package, where board members not only get access to the board member tier pick itself, but you also get access to every other pick, every other package that I offer on that website. It's an all-inclusive pass. It's an all-inclusive membership. It's It's the best membership that I offer, hands down. But anyway, guys, most importantly, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Monday or Tuesday to you, depending on when you're watching this. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.